It's Kringle time. Sit back and relax as we dive into a world of laughter and learning with the Kringle brothers, reminding us that we are better together.
Hey!
Hello, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Glad that you're here once again for the Kringle Time Show.
Oh, but I even got my little friend with me. I got my little doggy here. Here's
Oh,
Charlie.
Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Well,
Hey,
and then there's
Charlie.
Charlie Johnson's here too. Hi, Charlie. Good to see you.
And Santa Doug and Alan's lawn care.
That's awesome.
We have Bubba with us
here.
and
AJ,
here,
Chris.
And Dave, and then
Nader's
Dave,
here.
Nate,
and Bill is here.
Bill Coates and Kevin Owen. Oh my goodness, we have such a wonderful group. Thank you everybody for joining us.
Kevin sent me a dad joke in the emails today. It was awesome.
Good. Well, we're going to have to get that out there for everybody else to hear. Now, as everybody knows, this weekend, Michael and I, the Kringle brothers, will be at Master Claus Academy in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. We're really looking forward to it. It'll be Kringle Time Live. So we're going to have some fun. Kringle Time Live.
Drive down. I love doing the drive down video stuff. I love doing a lot of Facebook Live drive down videos.
So again, always remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Kringle Brothers, or follow us on Facebook so you can always be aware when we go on live. A lot of fun and exciting things going on. So, Michael, what was your week like? How's everything going for you?
Well, it was good. I spent the week packing and getting ready, and so updating, and resource links and making sure that what we give out, all the links are working. So knock on wood, kind of thing. I got that all set and going but yeah, so the weekend was good. And we're getting back in the swing of things. So whatever normal.
Talking about the swing of things, I'm always trying to set my house on fire.
Oh,
accidentally, of course. I was trying to make dinner, and apparently don't put an air fryer on the stove because sometimes you can turn the stove on and then catch your air fryer on fire. I'll say that a few times fast. Air fryer on fire.
And so did the house fill up with smoke?
A little bit. I had fans running and everything else. I felt so bad for my wife because she sometimes have an upper respiratory thing. So with that burning rubber and stuff like that, it was not a pleasant. So she had to go outside and had fans running. But you know what? We're all safe. We're thankful for that. Wow. Just a little bit of cleanup, and I may have to go purchase a new air fryer.
So the air fryer gone. Well, the fire stuff, I don't have permission, but a close Santa friend of mine, they've got like a barn, and he works in the barn, and he does woodworking and all that. Well, it caught on fire and it's totaled. It's just so I don't have permission to give names and stuff. So
no, it's fine. I understand that.
Do me a favor though, please pray for the Santa because this is horrid, and things have to turn around quickly because, like I said, he does woodworking and makes part of his living at that. So he needs prayer. So please remember that brother, that Santa.
Very good. So always remember, we're a close-knit family, so we all try to take care of each other and help out anytime. But Michael, I do have to say, that's a sniffy-looking hat that you have on. Le chapeau.
Thank you very much. It's the same as yours, except for coloring's a little different. Yours looks darker, at least on my end.
Because I live in the shadows. Hey, where'd you get it from?
Oh, Boston Scally.
Boston Scally is wonderful because even like Santa Allen said, look at y'all. Love the hats. He's from the South.
Yeah, too much fun. Yeah, I love the Boston Scally, but yeah.
Boston Scally is wonderful. They have so many good things too. And we'll try to wear a different one every day and every time just so you can get a good idea for it.
Well, cool. Let's jump in. Let's
jump in. But let's first, why don't you go ahead and give us the definition of what it is to have the heart of the Christmas performer?
Well, we're going to, like I said, we out of the heart of the Christmas performer, tonight we want to talk about character development. So let me give you what I shared about character development. It's developing and embody and compelling character in the essential for a Christmas performer. Whether you're portraying Santa Claus, an elf, or another festive character, we need to bring authenticity, warmth, and charm to that role. This involves understanding characters' background, personality traits, mannerisms, and speech pattern. All right. To deliver engaging performance that resonates with the audience.
Oh, that was wonderfully put. And you know what? That statement provides just so much information as from a Christmas performer. I mean, looking and talking to other Santas, Mrs. Clauses, we're more or less reenactors.
Yeah.
And what we do is being a Santa, we have pretty much defined roles. However, we have to also incorporate some of our own personality into each one of these roles. And I think you hit on four major points in that definition: the
Yeah.
character's background, personality traits, mannerisms, and speech. Because if you have a fully developed character, you will always maintain the magic. And then not just from Santa, from Mrs. Claus, the elves, and even
Mhm.
that big green guy, too.
So when I say character development, what comes to your mind? What would, if you had to say, well, this is character development, what would you say?
Well, I want to try to be the most authentic Santa or Christmas performer I can, whether it be me as Santa, me as Herbie the elf, or even if somebody wanted to dare me to put on Mrs. Claus. It would look pretty weird with the beard. I mean, sideshow thing going on. However, I would want to know my background. I think if you have a
Okay.
successful background and you're fully immersed within the background, there's not a question that you couldn't answer when somebody actually goes ahead and challenges you.
Right.
I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Well, background is in there too. I think there's a level of history of the character, understanding that character. So when you're looking at the background, where's the history of Santa? Where does that come from? What influences that? Because
That's a
depending
very good
on,
point.
depending on where you're at, depends on the influence of the character. You know, so some of the things that happened in the Netherlands, I mean, with Santa, and as it moved, was completely different. And then New Amsterdam, when they, AKA New York, that's where the Santa Claus or Sinterklaas, if you're saying it in Dutch, and so like that Sinterklaas, and that's where that name Santa Claus kind of morphed in languaging, which is interesting because my wife is linguistic, and I remember going to a conference that she had on language, and they literally talked about how language dialect changes through time and history,
Mhm.
and it blends. And it made so much sense that Sinterklaas, saying it in Dutch, slowly morphed in New York or the New Amsterdam to Santa Claus as you hear words and you interpret them and change them. So like when you go down south, how the dialect completely changes and we're not used to it, and how many times have you been setting as Santa and a child's talking to you and you're focusing on that child and you go, I have no idea what that kid's saying to me. And then an older brother or a sibling says, well, Santa, he da 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 da. He said, interprets what he said. And I couldn't understand it at all. And I think he was speaking English, but I just couldn't get it. But that
Well, I
kid,
mean,
his brother was used to that and get it.
mhm.
So, I mean, that happens. So that's
Well,
there.
but also from a character background, though, is being that we now live in a technologically savvy environment, you may find yourselves, if you do virtual phone calls, if you do any type of video work, being whether it's Cameo, private Zoom calls, or working for an agency that does phone calls or virtual video calls all throughout the world, to understand the cultural differences, because you make a good point. You did a video visit with children in England,
Yeah. In London. Yeah.
and when you asked what you wanted for Christmas, they said one thing, and you said, well, what else? And he goes, but Father Christmas, we only get one present from you a
Oh,
year.
I tell you, that was a magical time. Yeah.
And the thing that's so, and again, though, when you start looking at the different places where you have Father Christmas, or you have Pierre Noel, or you have La Befania, or any type of different variation of the Christmas gift giver, it's
So
good to
yeah.
know everything. And again,
Well, yep.
go on.
And when we talk
No, go
about
on.
background, I want to make sure I bring this in there, that you're looking at their childhood relationships that they have with other people, experiences they have, what main events took place in their life, so there's a lot into that when you say backstory,
Well,
or when you say history. There's a lot in there.
well, one of the instructors that we both actually went to and see was of course Santa True. And one of the things that he actually said during one of his training sessions, which really truthfully made me think, especially when it comes to the relationship with Mrs. Claus. When did you get married?
Hmm.
And what's your anniversary? And it kind of makes you think, okay, that's something that you would know right off the top of your head. Now, granted, I know a lot of men may not know their anniversaries or may forget their anniversaries.
Oh,
And being Santa's over what 1,700 and some odd years old, there's a lot of things that he could end up forgetting right there.
yes, we should. That would be a great question for the comments. Just a yes or no. Do you remember your anniversary? If your wife asked you, honey, do you remember when you got married? Would I should say, put in the chat yes if you can remember your date, and be
Yes.
honest. If you can't,
Well,
put well, maybe. I'll let you put it down to maybe. That would be
well,
a
I can because I put a clue into what our wedding date was,
all right.
and that is simply a week after my birthday.
Oh, and so wow, I didn't realize 7 days exactly.
Yep, I
See,
was
now I
buried on
can,
the
by knowing
18th
the
of
7 days, I can associate that, knowing that you're a 9/11 baby. Yeah,
exactly. Yes, my birthday is September 11th, and my
yay.
anniversary is September 18th.
Doug said
But
yes. Yay, Doug.
yeah, and again, it's wonderful. And yes, Mike Connor. Yeah, we're just discussing character development and looking and focusing on right now character background.
Oh,
And as Michael
Kirby was
pointed
the
out,
day before. Oh, look at
yeah,
that. Look at all these guys. I'm so impressed with you. I have to
you
think. I really
wow.
do have to
Not only
concentrate.
not only did Bill know the date, he actually knew the time.
That's impressive. Yeah,
So
that's
you guys are amazing, each and every one of you, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. But some other aspects of the character background, and Michael, you kind of alluded to this, whereas what is your motivation for doing what you're doing?
Oh, dude, you know what I mean? When I talk about character development, I love hitting in personality traits.
Hmm.
Um, because and it's like where do you develop your character from? In other words, one of the things that I encourage when we're in class is to write down, think about those spots. So in other words, for me, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Santa in that, being born in the 60s, that was my Santa as a
Hmm.
little teeny kid. That was so I think, what's the first Santa that I remember? That's him. That Santa, each Santa, I mean, just some of his mannerisms and his managing, the elves, and just that. You don't get a lot of Santa in that, but that's the first Santa I remember as a child. Then the other Santa that influences a lot of my mannerisms and my personality traits, my body movements, my gestures, is not a Santa, but it's the Ghost of Christmas Present,
Yep.
right? And Scrooge. And so when I think, come and know me better, man, and how big he was and grand, and authoritative at the same token because of the children is in his robe, So here's this guy full of jolly, right? But much authority. I think of it as meekness. In other words, like meekness, the definition for me is a wild stallion, but it's completely under control.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I see that Santa, the Ghost of Christmas Present, or at least that's a lot of my mannerisms that I draw from, and a lot of the looks. Then, and when I look at that, I draw a lot from the Coca-Cola Santa, because that's another one that I remember earlier as a child. So then you start studying those. And where can I find those mannerisms? That
Well, see,
personality traits.
you kind of jumped way ahead of where I was going to,
Oh, okay.
because no, I mean, but you actually, it's a good time to bring this up because even if you're just starting your career, your vocation as a Christmas performer, you need to look at your different resources. And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Rankin Bass specials, the various movies that are currently out and have been out for years are wonderful to actually get a better understanding of how you want your Santa to look, as you said, their personality traits, their mannerisms, and even their speech patterns. When you look and you mentioned like the Ghost of Christmas Present being big and boisterous and full of life and the party, you can actually start seeing where, and I think I love when you sing this part, but a lot of times I also then want to bring in other people like Topol from the Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh yeah.
If I were a rich man,
I
da da
love
da 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 da
a
da.
little segue. My favorite line in that whole play is, "If being rich is a curse, may I be smitten and may I never recover." I love that line.
But
All
what
right.
I was
That's a
also
little
going
thing.
to with motivations is there are movies, and well, there's a book. Again, Michael and I just read this book as well, and it was The Adventures of Santa Claus by Frank L. Baum. Yes, the writer of The Wizard of Oz. And it was very interesting that his perception of Santa Claus as being basically adopted and raised by the woodland fairies and the fae folk. And when he was actually to learn that he was human and they took him to view humans, he kind of did. I don't want to say he felt pity for them, but he wanted to do something for them to show his appreciation. If you look at it, believe it's a Swedish movie or maybe it's Dutch, but it's the Christmas Story and not the one with Ralphie. But this one was interesting because Nicholas lost his family during a winter, and the town pretty much adopted him, and he would stay with each town member for a year. And in appreciation, Nicholas would then carve toys to leave for the family before he went to
As a
the
thank
next
you.
home. And these are the motivations that I'm talking about because if you can actually develop the motivations why your Santa does the things that they're doing, why your Mrs. Claus does the things that she's doing, then again, you would make a more believable aspect. Now, speech pattern is always one that just really cracks me up because I think we were in Gatlinburg a couple years ago, the last family reunion, and when we were presenting, somebody asked us, how can you two go in and out of character at a drop of a dime? And it's because it's like the speech patterns. I know when I get into doing like mall visits or chair work itself, I kind of get this weird type of English Cockney accent. I may drop my H's like,
You label that as English cocky?
no, Cockney. Cockney is
Oh.
a dialect within London.
My Santa's a little hard of hearing.
But and even in fact, I heard a couple of people ask me, go, Santa, what dialect are you speaking? And I go, oh, it's North Polish. And when I first said it, I didn't even think about it. And then I got the joke later on.
Did you really tell you say it was Polish?
I said it was North Polish.
Too bad I
Not
wasn't
Polish.
there. I would have came down from South Pole where the penguins hang out. Yeah.
But again, though, is when we actually look at each other and look at people, like you said, everybody has a unique way of speaking. Everybody has a unique rhythm, tone, speed, and inflection, not just an individual, but also geographic.
Yeah.
Being that we live up basically in the Great Lakes region, we don't sound like we have an accent. But if we start traveling, going around the country, oh yes, we have a immense accent. You go down south, there's a whole different thing. You go to Minnesota, there's a whole different thing this way.
You betcha.
So again, it's a point of incorporating your uniqueness into your Christmas performer persona.
Well, and it's that connection piece with the children. It's the connection and when I say children, realize I mean the child in all of us. Right? So adults too. I mean, I love connecting in that component, but it's it's literally for me. All right, I'll throw this. When I look at character development, right, I think of everything that needs to take place within my heart, within inside of me. In other words, it's the root foundation of a good tree, right? The better that root system that's able to grow on the nutrients and water and all of the feed and everything it needs, the stronger and the bigger the tree is. And people only see the tree, they don't see the roots. But what's important to that tree is the roots. And so all of this work that we encourage you to do on character development, it's all the stuff that people don't see, all this work, but they'll see the fruit of it. They'll see the manifestation of what you take the time with to examine inside of yourself, and then it comes out, yeah.
Well, I mean, again, like you're saying, when you actually start looking at the inner workings of basically being a performer, I mean, going back and looking at personality traits, mannerism, and speech patterns, you have your perfect Santa in your head, or your perfect Mrs. Claus, or Elf, or Grinch, etc. How do they speak? Are they loud? Like Santa would have a commanding voice, but yet compassionate and warm.
Yeah.
Mrs. Claus would actually be very nurturing. The elves would be basically on sugar. And of course, the Grinch would be kind of grumpy and, just doesn't care about anything.
Well, some of those words that we think of Santa, like he's a giver.
Right.
I mean, gratitude. I mean, so I think of Santa as one that is very grateful, has great gratitude, which influences his giving and what he does. So then if I ask you, what does gratitude look like? That's something you got to spend some time with thinking, because when I was teaching computers, one of the things I wanted my students to know was I wanted them to respect the computer. I didn't want them to beat it and hit it, and I wanted, it wasn't theirs, but I wanted them to respect it. So then I go, how can I test for respecting a computer? What does respecting a computer look like? So I look at it, that same process that I had to concentrate on, as I bring that to the table as Santa. So if my Santa has got gratitude, what's that look like? What's it sound like? And that's just something that, it might be a twinkle in an eye. So then now all of a sudden you're in a mirror working on a bend of your head and a twinkle in your eye to show gratitude. And it's back to learning the acting skills, as a presenter.
We do have a very good question here. And Santa Doug asks us, do you guys know anyone that can speak or teach some of the elfish language? Would love to learn some for my character.
Oh,
Do
awesome.
you have anything like that, Michael?
I don't have, when you say elfish language, all of a sudden I'm thinking of Tolkien. Is
Well,
he in Tolkien?
if you're lucky enough, they do have actually college courses that you can actually learn to read, write, and speak Elvish. But you know what, Doug? There is an improv game called Gibberish. And
You
gibberish is
go to 'em.
it's basically just a made up language. And usually when I actually get this question asked of me, what I recommend that you do is, in this case, is if you wanted to, is make up your own language, your own gibberish, and then basically write those down as index cards. And this way you can be consistent. For instance, Christmas could be something, a name, or go from there. Like, okay, Michael, if I say, well, give me a name for Christmas in Elfish.
Wojak Dechech.
Exactly. And then so you can pronounce that and you can spell it out phonetically, or you can make up your own spelling. But this is something that you can actually end up using. Also, because I was a very heavily role-playing Dungeons and Dragons type of person, I start like throwing people for a loop, because you ask me about elves, what type of elves? High elves, gray elves, dark elves, aquatic elves. There's like 8 or 9 different types of elves, and each one
Leaf elves
speaks
are
in.
very, very funny.
Well,
Oh,
those are wood elves. Those would be the wood elves or silver elves, and then
and
you
their
have the
bark is
high
always
elves.
better than their bite.
Exactly. So there are different variations that you can use on that, but the thing is to create your own magical place. A lot of times when Michael and I talk about character development, we focus a lot on the individual, but part of your character development is also developing your North Pole. Take time to basically take a blank piece of paper, draw out your North Pole. Do you live in a magical castle type environment with
Yeah.
everybody basically living in the same place? Or is it more like a hamlet or village? And the elves all have their own individual homes and they take care of their own families. And Mrs. Claus and Santa are in this house up on the hill, or however you wanted to do it.
Harvey, there's you're a hoot, brother. I just
Who's this?
love your gestures, and you're all of a sudden
Oh,
you slow down and they're becoming flowing bigger, and yeah, you're a hoot. Oh, I tell you what, speaking of a hoot, it's hard to believe that it's the bottom of the hour. So it's like trivia time. But
it is
before we do our
trivia time.
trivia, we have people that help us out and that you can, and they want to give you a wonderful gift. So get ready to answer.
Uh,
Let me run the video first of our not our contributor.
Contributor, supporter.
Go ahead and stop, stop the thing, and then we'll come back and I'll ask the question.
Since its founding in 2004, Santa's Closet has been committed to providing unique, high-quality accessories for Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the entire Claus community. Our mission is to deliver exceptional customer service and outstanding value, offering competitive pricing and a wide selection of products designed to enrich the Claus experience.
Awesome. You want me to I'll bring up the question, our trivia
You bring
question
up the
tonight?
question and I will monitor the chat to see who we get first.
All right, are you ready? And our question tonight is, what kind of vehicle will Santa's little bobsled walk in little Saint Nick, sorry. So it's a Christmas Carol question again, music question. Question again, what type of vehicle will Santa's little bobsled walk in little Saint Nick?
Oh, I think that's a good one.
Anybody responding quickly to it?
Not yet, no, because you
Oh,
always come up with the thinkers.
well, should I give a hint or should we
No,
wait a second?
we'll wait to see if we get anybody on there, and we'll go from there.
Oh, a hot
AJ
rod.
says a hot rod. That's not
Nice,
quite
nice
correct,
guess, AJ. That's a good
and
guess.
that's Mr. Trivia right there.
And then
It's a Beach Boys song,
Alan says it's a Beach Boys song. That's correct. Oh,
and then Steven says it's a
wait.
little Deuce Coupe. Oh, Santa Doug.
No. He's missing part.
Oh,
He's in verse 2, not verse 1.
oh, what about Charlie's?
Charlie's nope. They're close, but they're not the exact what I'm looking for.
I do like Nate's answer. One horse open sleigh is always fun.
Oh, we've got another Deuce Coupe. No. So if they looked up the lyrics, they would see it literally almost word for word in the lyrics. Little bobsled walk and little Saint Nick's.
I love everybody. Everybody's probably just scratching their head
close.
going, hey.
They're so close.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a good one, Amanda. A Ford Model
18.
18. That's not right, but it sounds good to me.
So while they're searching a little bit, let's see what else we've got coming else. Anything else?
Okay.
Wait.
We have an answer.
Well, but unfortunately, we can't. We have to go down one. Santa on a motorcycle. Oh wait, yeah, Santa on a motorcycle, and then I'm looking real quick. Charlie, I love your answer, but you won last week, so which means you can't win tonight.
Charlie didn't win last week. Bruce won last
Oh,
week.
that's right, bro. Oh, Charlie can win then.
Yes.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Charlie.
Charlie actually got in, according to our thing, a little bit before Santa on a motorcycle. So, with that being said, unfortunately, Santa on a motorcycle, we're going to have to give it to Charlie because he just entered on first. So,
Yeah.
congratulations, Charlie.
So the
Well,
answer. Wait, let me bring up the banner just so you can see everyone else is on it. Walking a little Saint Nick. Yes, it's a Beach Boy song. A toboggan with a 4-speed stick.
Now, Charlie, what we need from you is basically just email us your
Name,
name,
address,
address, and shirt
t-shirt
size.
T-shirt.
And we will forward that to Santa's Closet, and they will be sending out a surprise for you, as well as your name will be entered into the drawing for a scholarship to North Pole Cornerstones in 2026.
That's awesome.
So,
I messed up. Well, Bruce, not only did Bruce win, but he sent us, guess what?
what?
What does a panda use to cook pancakes? Oh, a pan, duh!
I think my favorite part of that whole. I think my favorite part is a pan, duh.
That's a panda with pancakes. Oh, what a hoot!
Okay, so
All right,
let's go back in
with all of that other. Take me back. What things that we were talking about? So we're talking character development.
We're talking character development, and we're talking some of the steps that an individual can actually utilize to create their own character. But to go a little bit further into that, why don't we spend the next little bit to talk about why character development is so important?
All right, awesome.
I think
comes to mind.
That authenticity is a great one. A well-developed character feels real. Children and adults alike sense when a performer truly embodies Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus rather than just acting the part. So you can see if you just throw on, say, a suit with a beard, if you don't have a natural one, and you just sit up there, you're not going to be engaging with your clientele. If you're just sitting in a chair, you're doing mall work, or you're basically doing a home visit, and you don't really feel comfortable with being within the suit, that's going to show and be a reflection to everyone around you.
And you know what? That's the great thing about character development, or back to the comment saying working within, developing that all inside, all that work that you do inside, that it comes out of you. You can have an inexpensive suit and not have quality stuff, and kids will still think you're Santa because what? All of that character development's coming out. You're portraying, right. And so you can have an expensive suit without good character development, and you're just a guy wearing a lot of wool,
Well, we know some Santas who don't whiten their beard. Then they have good background as to why they don't do it, and that's their persona of Santa, and they make it authentic. And again, by having that strong sense in your background, your mannerisms, your personality, your speech, you're going to sound authentic, and understanding all the legend, the cultural references, you're going to basically be Santa or Mrs. Claus or an elf. Another one that comes to my mind when it comes to the importance of character development is connection with the audience.
Yeah.
Because if you have that strong work, it allows you to connect emotionally with your audience, evoking the joy, wonder, and the belief in the magic of Christmas.
Yeah.
I know working with you in the past, and I've seen people's faces when you get up there and you're your genuine self. People think you are the real Santa. And because again, you're giving yourself. And I think, in all honesty, you're probably one of the best people to talk about this, and that's being vulnerable.
Oh my gosh. You
And
know,
that's part of your character development, to
yeah,
be vulnerable. So
yeah.
why don't you go ahead and explain that a little bit?
Well, vulnerability, it's one of those things, we shy away from. I don't want to be vulnerable. I've been hurt. I'm going to put it up. But you know what? You can't be creative without vulnerability. In other words, if I want to make something, if I'm going to be an artist, I'm painting something, or if I'm going to, if I'm going to be a comedian, the only way, any of the forms of art that we are performers, the only way is being vulnerable, you know, because you have to take the risk. In other words, if I'm, there's times I get really nervous even in the show, right? Because it's like, oh, if I say this, what if someone rejects it or they get mad at it? And I'm going, but that's my heart. That's how I feel. So I'm literally just trying to be real, and bring it to you. You know what I mean? But I have to be vulnerable and take the risk of opening my hands up and saying, here it is, which means, yes, I'm taking a risk that someone might say something poorly to me, and then vice versa. I'll say it this way. I'm not perfect, and I've said things and done things where then I have to come back later and go, hey, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? You know what I mean? But I think that vulnerability is huge in our performance area, for us to be genuine, authentic, connecting with the audience, that they want to be with you and be real with you. So,
Mhm.
yeah. And if you'd
Well,
like to do more with that, Brene Brown has an audio book that Stephen Gillum shared with me that I have listened to that book multiple times. And that book has literally been an influence of me going back to do inward work, where taking a look at myself and being vulnerable, and what that power of vulnerability means to me and around me, and sharing and teaching and growing. But that's all been inside work that I've done. So I would highly recommend Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability.
well, maybe when we're finished, or in the next couple days, we can actually put a Facebook post out with Renee Brown's "The Vulnerability"
She has a lot of
audiobook.
great teaching. Yeah, it's an audiobook.
And so that way you could go, it's only in audiobook form, and you could pick it up wherever you do get audiobooks, but that's a different thing. Um, Within my studies and looking at the Meisner from an acting perspective, by connecting with your audience, by being authentic, it doesn't give you time to think.
Yeah.
Because if you have a very strong character development, then everything should come naturally. And a good example is this: if I were to ask you what you had for dinner last night or tonight, you'd be able to rattle that off at the top of your head. Well, we talked about knowing your anniversary. Majority of the people that actually responded to your call out knew dates, in one case times.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a point that they had to think and get a calendar and go from there.
Now, I
So
will throw this out as just a little bit of help, as you're working on that improv skill and coming back out. I know one of the things that will buy you just a little bit of time is to repeat it. So, like, if you
mhm.
ask me, so what did you have for dinner? And so I would look at the child or whatever, and I go, oh, you want to know what I had for dinner tonight or last night? You know what I mean? And so, in other words, by asking that question back, by not responding, I'm literally buying myself precious seconds that I can process that answer before and speak it. So I give a good answer. So it makes it feel like
Right.
it's completely spontaneity. So, that's just a little bit of a hint to buy yourself some improv time.
Well, Joe Eady actually made a good point too. Is within improv, once you actually can get a group of people, whether you're working with Mrs. Claus, the elves, or even if you're doing a duo with Santa and the Grinch, if you all are on the same page and you are just responding to each other naturally, It's basically called the group mindset. And what ends up coming from that is everything you're doing is just flowing nicely. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, a really good idea or an example of this, Michael, was 2 years ago when you were doing Great Wolf Lodge. You had another Santa and his wife come up to the lodge to see you. And she came up and she was interacting with you.
Oh yeah.
And it was flawless and seamless, as if it was already pre-planned and you didn't even know they were coming up there.
Well, I knew they were coming, and I asked, and it was Erica and Roger. I asked them to come, and so it was the option. Would you like to come on stage with me? Yes or no? And so it was, at least as I'm remembering it, that was there. And she came, and she had props with her, and we interacted. And I think the best thing that I loved was Roger was filming it. So I asked Roger to come and film my performance, so I'd have something to work on and cleaning it. But the guy that was next to Roger said, if I remember exactly, it was like one of those, wow, they must have worked together for years, and the whole thing was improv, and I had no idea what she was going to do, and she knew what I was going to do, but it was just those practicing those skills, and I did, knowing Erica, I was ready for anything. It could have been anything. Yeah.
Well, this is all leading into like the third reason why character development is important, and that, of course, is versatility. Versatility is basically improvisation is often necessary when interacting with an audience, as a deep understanding of the character ensures consistent and believable responses, even in unscripted moments. Just like in life, you don't know how a person is going to respond to you.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to come in. And especially true in the words of Bill Cosby, kids say the darndest things.
Oh, you don't know. Yeah, that's true.
And even too is you're dealing with children who are just developing a vocabulary. And was it you that told me that basically a Santa was had a child come up, and it was a little girl, and the little girl said what she wanted for Christmas, and the Santa thought it was bone marrow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's getting really sad and trying to figure out what exactly right the thing is. Then the mother comes up and goes, "No, Santa. She said she wants a bow and arrow."
From one extreme to the other, right?
Exactly. So again, by remaining fluid and always trying to accept everything that's coming at you, you can have your predefined answers, but you never know where you might have to twist a thing here or there.
All right. Well, we've got a couple more videos we need to run.
Yes, let's go ahead and run those spots for us, and then we'll go back to this.
Spots. Here we go.
Are you going crazy managing clients, contracts, and invoices? Kringle Tracker is here to help you. Stay organized with ease. Keep your sanity in check with Kringle Tracker's intuitive tools to effectively manage your schedule and clients. Our seamless, customizable contract system allows you to tailor your contracts to you and your clients' needs. Prepare for tax time like a pro by tracking your income and expenses, and generate reports to make it a breeze. Transform your claws business by signing up for a free 20-day trial. Kringle Tracker was created by a Claus for the Claus community, so you can focus on making magical memories for your clients. Head over to kringletracker.com and sign up for your free trial today.
We made it back.
We made it back, and we had a couple of comments I just wanted to get into while we're thinking. Stephen Thor Cafone asked, "Can Santa's beard be too long?"
I say yes.
Well, I disagree. The reason I disagree is I guess for me, it all depends on what kind of Santa that you want to be. If you want to be the North American idea of Santa, then yes, a beard down to your waist may be a little too long.
Right.
However, if you have clientele that are Dutch and you want to fulfill the role of Santa Claus, then
Yeah.
having a longer beard is necessary because that is the ideal image of Santa Claus.
Yeah. And I guess I said no just from the point of my Santa, my imagery of Santa, my character is, he's not a ZZ Top guy.
Right.
He might be able
But
to play guitar like that, but
he could.
he doesn't have the beard like that.
And but also too is when you actually look and you look at some of the history of Santa Claus, I mean, some people believe that Santa Claus is derivative from Odin of Norse mythology, which could
Right.
also have a long beard from a Viking perspective as well.
Right.
So there's different variations, but as long as you can explain it and it's feasible and plausible, children are going to believe you, and it all depends. You could have a long one with some really good hairspray, tuck that bad boy up. Next thing you know, you have a very bushy beard.
Well, you could do what Stephen Gillum does. I know he's got a
Oh,
long
the
beard.
cool ice.
He pulls it in and doubles it. So that way
Yep.
it thickens it and gotta be glue a whole, what does Deb say? He's put a whole can of gotta be glued in it,
No, it's cool ice.
Well, he uses that first and then I think he sprays it
Oh, yeah,
after.
pretty much. Yeah, he sprays that on top of that as well. The other question we have,
If he rode a motorcycle, can you imagine?
you knock yourself out with the way he does it.
All right, I love
But
you, Steve. Yeah.
another question that we have, and it still plays along the same line as what we're discussing, is from Bubba Claus. Monday going to the school as a leprechaun, throwing out gold coins around in the hallways, have to get into a different type of character.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, okay, Bubba, so let's talk about it. If you wanted to actually go and be a leprechaun, look at your different ideas of leprechauns. I mean, you could be the demonic killer type of leprechaun that comes from the movie Leprechauns,
Oh, I think of more mischievous.
or mischievous. There's also a Christmas special. What is that? The Leprechaun's Gold as well. So there could be
Have
different
you ever
things.
seen the movie Finian's Rainbow?
No.
See, I loved musicals as a kid. And there's the leprechaun in Finian's Rainbow, and I absolutely love it.
Well, there was a Sean Connery movie that actually was he sang in, and he was singing to leprechauns.
Oh, that was the. Oh, I remember that movie. Oh, I can't remember the name though.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the only time Sean Connery sang into a movie.
Or the leprechaun on the Lucky Charm boxes, Charlie would say.
Yes, you can also do the Lucky Charms thing. But when you actually start looking at, for instance, the Celtic lore, and even talking to Santa True on this, the Fae folk aren't nice. They're into a lot
But
of shenanigans.
I think Bubba's leprechaun's going to be fun loving. I would think that he would portray fun loving and happy and just wanting to bless people. And
I would actually do a combination between the Lucky Charms leprechaun with a tad bit of, and Bill Coates said it's Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
oh yes, good
That's
job. Thank you. Who said that for us?
That was Bill Coates.
That's right, Garby.
So, but yeah, Bubba, what I would end up doing is just having fun with it. And like I said, think about like what an elf would do. Be very light on your feet, be a little high pitched if you have to speak, and always be in a hurry.
Oh yeah, because you don't want to be caught.
No, you can't. Well, leprechauns, if a leprechaun is caught, you can force him to take his gold, but he'll come after you. Like I said, they're not fun.
They're not. Well, you know what?
Mike,
That almost sounds like life. You take my money and I'm coming after you.
oh yeah. Mike Connor says, I found that with mine. I assume he's referring to his beard. When it was real long, it got bent in half when I sat down. Not good for pictures. Good job. And yes, Mike, Steve probably does use 2 cans, and he carries 2 cans with him.
Yeah.
So, and then again, we have Darby O'Gill.
This is
Jeff Oulet
Hyper.
said the same.
Leprechaun would be Hyper. Yeah.
Yes, all the first grade classes all made leprechaun traps. Yeah, you could have so much fun with that. And see, Thomas Sheeran said Darby O'Gill is one of his favorites. It's mine too, but I'm a big Sean Connery fan anyway. So,
Yeah. So when but it's back to that character development, taking the time to understand what you want to portray and having fun in it.
exactly. And the last point about why character development is so important is legacy. Iconic roles like Santa are cultural touchstones. Maintaining their essence while adding unique touches keep these characters timeless and relevant.
Yeah. And
Now,
I
as
have a lot of clients that, when I show them my different outfits in my wardrobe, guess what? The majority of them all come back to traditional Santa.
right, there's many Santas, there's many Christmas performers who have a variety of different looks when it comes to being Santa. The workshop, the robe, the formal aspect, the traditional, the Coca-Cola suits, even variations of the Civil War suit. Really, as what we found out from the different clienteles and working at Great Wolf Lodge and country clubs and home visits, majority of the people are only looking for the traditional suit because why? That's what they're used to.
That's the legacy part of it,
Right.
studying it.
We look at the Rankin Bass and the Santa, I believe in everyone wore a traditional suit. It wasn't until we started getting, of course, the nest photos from the Coca-Cola Santa, but most of the movies always pertain a variation of a traditional suit. So
when
again,
you say traditional Santa, what comes to your mind to you? What Santa is your Santa traditional in your head when you were a kid?
To be honest with you, I didn't really pay that much attention to it when I was a kid. But as I got into this and as I was looking for what I wanted my Santa to be like, I tend to lean more towards Miracle on 34th Street. Any version. I love the traditional look. But see, my concept is when I wear the full suit, that's kind of like Santa's tuxedo. That's what he wears to formal occasions or for like the big night. For me, I get a little bit more into it because I believe the Santa that I am is a woodworker, a tinkerer. He likes to like mess things up. And wearing the traditional suit or Coca-Cola suit all the time would be unpractical. So I love the look of basically like a knicker pants, leather apron, a work shirt, Historical Emporium, awesome place.
If
Different variations like
the
that.
shirts that we have is Historical Emporium tonight.
Right. But the key is I always ask my clients what they want me to come in. Now, Michael, this topic is
a
huge.
couple of things. When I look at I look at our time and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're almost come to an hour. And you know what? We're going to need a part 2.
Yeah, and that's like I'm saying, because we can actually then touch on like different aspects for each individual role, which you know what, maybe that's what we actually continue on with next week. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea because when I look at our notes going, we have a part 2 already written.
Yeah, we do have a part 2. So, but in the closing moments we do have together, I just want to say
I've just my head's just running my ADHD squirrel.
We did.
We've done the trivia, right?
Right.
And we're waiting for the answer to that. We've shared videos from those people who help us out, which is major thank you. We really appreciate it a lot. Did we ask them to send us?
Oh, no, we did not go. So why don't you go ahead and take that then? And I'm going to go here and click on this one here.
Oh, yep. So please follow us if you would. We appreciate it. I mean, like I said, back to the vulnerability thing. It just means a lot to us that maybe we're saying something that's good when people follow us, or they go to our YouTube channel, which is a big gig, and subscribe to the Kringle Brothers. You'll find us there in YouTube and subscribe to it. It's just it's a click or whatever. And then the other thing is leave us a review, something, if there's something that you would like to see, coming down the pipe, the topic or whatever, or if you have somebody that you would like us to interview. We've got some people that I've already asked, like I've asked Roger to come and talk about, Kringle Tracker with us. I sent Mitch Allen an email today, hopefully. I'm not sure if he's watching tonight, but we'd love for you to know what he does to help Santas who want to be booked by an agency, and looking for work. And so it's always good to have that. So there's different people that I thought would be good to come on.
Definitely.
To.
And also too, just as a reminder, as we said in the beginning, is Michael and I will be down at Master Claws Academy in Reynoldsburg, Ohio this weekend. We're looking forward to seeing each and every one. I know there's a few people joining us tonight that are going to be down there as well. Can't wait to see you all. And then we're going to be at the Santa Family Reunion in Gatlinburg, Tennessee at the end of the month.
Yep. We're part of Charlie's AV crew.
I thought you were going to say Charlie's Angels and I was going to lose it.
That would be, what was the lead angel's name on that?
I don't remember.
Charlie. Hello.
Bosley.
Oh, Bosny. Yeah.
Bosley was the guy who actually arranged the thing. But see, it's funny because we have those vests that say AV, Angels of Video.
Angels of Video. Too funny. Charlie's Angels of Video. Yeah.
But again, as Michael said, your feedback.
We'll also be teaching a class, but our main thing at Gatlinburg is we're teaching a class. We do have an entertainment segment, which is a hoot. I can't wait for you to see a couple of the things that we've got scheduled for that. And we'll be mainly helping out with AV and helping Charlie. So it'll be fun.
Right.
And we're always willing to sit with you for a meal. We love sitting at meals and talking.
And as you can see, we do love to talk, and we're going to be at the TNL table in Gatlinburg. So it'd be good to come by, say hi, just get an extra chance to meet you all. And as Michael said, your feedback is greatly appreciated. So again, anytime that you would love to actually submit any suggestions, topics, ideas, or guests, please just let us know and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah.
And like I said, next week we're going to continue on with character development. So if you enjoyed tonight, then come back next week and we'll talk about each individual role.
Well, let's say this, even if you didn't enjoy tonight, come back because we would enjoy having you.
Exactly, which leads us up to our next point. Oh, and this is important. Michael, what? It's the thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So why don't you go
ahead? Everyone Tuesday, like Mel and Sean and Mike. Who else is all on that list? I haven't
Scott and Spangle.
I haven't met the guys yet. At least I don't think I've met the guys yet that do the opposite polar thing.
Oh, the polar opposites. Yeah, we're gonna have to see them. Also,
I want to see them yet. That would be fun. And then Chris is taking that fifth Thursday. I know. So thank you to Chris.
Actually, I believe Chris is on tomorrow night because Mrs. Claus Vintage doesn't start till beginning of April.
Oh, nice.
So Chris will be on tomorrow night. And we also want to send a thank you out to our lovely wives, Linda and Stacy, for all the things that they do for us. And then finally, we want to thank you, the viewers. We just want everybody to be comfortable.
Well, but
excited.
And you know what? We truly believe that we're better together. I mean, that's not just a cliche thing. We're family. I love the Red Suit family. And yeah.
And then finally, Michael, why don't you go ahead and say it? Duh. If I start, it will throw you off. But blessings,
A funny thing
everyone.
happened to me on the way. I'm scanning my notes real quick, going, I don't remember that intro to anything I wrote.
It's actually the closing statement.
Oh, blessing everyone. Oh, all right. This is like the priestly, this is Father Mike kind of thing. Oh, you are a hoot to me. I love you. I can't wait to see you this weekend. All right. Blessings, everyone. And may your life be filled with encouragement, laughter, and fellowship.
And may you find the magic in every smile you inspire and always live with a full heart of Christmas.
Yeah. Hey, there's
So
still
a leper
people watching.
There is. We have like 27 people still watching. But you
Whoa.
know what?
What?
A leprechaun, an Irish setter,
Yeah.
and an Irishman all walk into the bar.
Yeah.
And you know what they say?
What do they have in common? What did they say?
They didn't say anything. They just started a fight.
I thought you were going to say, and they loved watching Kringle Time with the Kringle Brothers.
That's not what happens in an Irish pub. Bob McMasters actually asked who tonight's trivia winner is. And Bob, that would be one Charlie Johnson.
Oh, my. Yeah. Look at, I love it. Charlie comes on right underneath and says, it was me, Bob.
Up. And then somebody just said, I saw Legos of your sleigh. I want that. Did I have it out?
Oh, yeah. I've got mine was over here, but you can't see it on my camera.
Yeah, I think I put mine
I got
somewhere
the
else
new
too.
chocolate. Art of Chocolate Factory.
Oh,
Lego.
yes. I got Michael hooked on actually building the Winter Village through Lego. But
all
again,
right.
Michael, I think it was a great show.
Again.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Blessings, everybody.